Los Angeles Lakers just lost LeBron James, and somehow that may be the reason people are about to underestimate them. No, they did not replace LeBron with another superstar. They replaced him with something less glamorous: rim protection, perimeter defense, lineup flexibility, and a roster that finally makes complete sense around Luka Doncic. That does not guarantee a championship. The West is too deep, and this team still has real weaknesses. But if your view of the 2026-27 Lakers is simply, LeBron left so they got worse, you are missing the more interesting story. This may be the first true version of Luka's Lakers. Let's start with the obvious. Losing LeBron is not addition by subtraction. Even late in his career, he was still a devastating transition player, an elite passer, a playoff problem solver, and one of the few players alive who could control an entire series with his brain. You do not lose that and pretend nothing happened. So the skepticism is understandable. The Lakers traded star power for Walker Kessler, Quentin Grimes, Colin Sexton, Sandro Mamukelashvili, Matisse Thybulle, Zaire Williams, and Kevon Looney. Read those names quickly, and it sounds like a collection of useful pieces, not the foundation of a contender. But basketball is not a fantasy draft. The question is not whether those players are individually better than LeBron. They are not. The question is whether the new roster can solve more of the specific problems that kept the previous Lakers from becoming their best possible team. Too little rim protection, too much creation concentrated in two stars, too many lineups with difficult defensive assignments, too much overlap at the top of the offense, and not enough clarity everywhere else. The new Lakers have less overwhelming talent, but they may have more coherence. And coherence matters when the player at the center of everything is Luka Doncic. The first reason to believe in this team is also the simplest. Luka is already good enough to drive an elite regular season offense almost by himself. Last season, he averaged 33.5 points, 8.3 assists, and 7.7 rebounds per game. Those are not merely superstar numbers. They are an entire offensive system compressed into one player. The Lakers won 53 games, and when Luka found his rhythm late in the season, the offense became nearly impossible to keep out of the paint. He forces defenses to reveal their coverage, then punishes the answer. Play drop coverage and he walks into the lane. Switch, and he hunts the mismatch. Blitz him, and the ball reaches the weak side before the defense can recover. Put 2 on the ball, and someone else is playing 4 on 3. That is the crucial context for every roster move Los Angeles made. They do not need 5 players who can create a shot from nothing. They need players who can turn Luka's advantage into points and prevent opponents from erasing those points at the other end. For the first time, there is no debate about whose team this is. No awkward split between 2 timelines. No question about who controls the final possession or whose preferred style defines the offense. Luka is the engine. Everything else is arranged around him. That clarity can look less exciting in July. It can become extremely powerful by April. The second reason is Walker Kessler, because his value is much bigger than his box score. Start with the obvious. Luka has always been at his most dangerous with a real vertical threat. A center who sprints into screens, dives hard, catches above the rim, and forces the low defender to take one extra step toward the paint. That one step changes everything. If the big stays with Luka, Kessler has a runway to the rim. If the weak side defender tags the roll, the corner opens. If the defense switches, Luka gets the matchup he wants. If it drops, he can live in the middle of the floor. Kessler does not need post touches or isolation possessions to affect an offense. He creates vertical gravity simply by being dangerous near the rim. And defensively, he gives the Lakers something they have lacked: a dependable back line. Perimeter defenders can pressure the ball more aggressively when they know a legitimate shot blocker is behind them. Guards can chase shooters over screens. Wings can crowd driving lanes. One mistake no longer has to become an automatic layup. Kessler will not solve every defensive problem. 5-out teams can drag him away from the basket, and elite playoff offenses will test his feet repeatedly. But over 82 games, reliable rim protection raises a team's defensive floor. And for a Luka-led team, raising the floor may be more valuable than adding another high-usage scorer. Then there is Austin Reaves. 23.3 points, 5.5 assists, and 4.7 rebounds per game. At some point, we have to stop describing that as a nice complimentary season. Reaves is not Luka, and he should not be asked to imitate Luka. His importance is that he gives the Lakers a second way to bend a defense. When Luka sits, Reaves can organize pick and roll. When Luka is trapped, Reaves can attack the tilted floor. Late in games, he can punish a defense that loads every body toward number 77. That secondary creation is essential. The easiest way to exhaust a heliocentric superstar is to make every good possession begin with him solving the entire defense. Reaves reduces that burden without competing for control of the team. Collin Sexton adds another form of pressure. He plays downhill, attacks gaps before they close, and can inject speed into lineups that might otherwise become methodical. Between Luka, Reaves, and Sexton, the Lakers can stagger their minutes and keep a genuine ball handler on the floor almost all night. That does not sound revolutionary. In a playoff series, it is the difference between surviving the non-Luka minutes and watching a lead disappear in 4 possessions. Now look at the rest of the roster, not as a list of names but as a set of jobs. Quentin Grimes defends guards and wings, spaces the floor, and attacks a closeout. Matisse Thybulle creates chaos at the point of attack and gives the Lakers a specialist for elite perimeter scorers. Zaire Williams adds length and transition athleticism. Mamukelashvili brings passing and shooting from the front court. Looney gives them strength, rebounding, and a different kind of center for physical matchups. None of those players has to become a star for the roster to work. That is the point. The Lakers can build a defensive lineup. They can build a shooting lineup. They can protect a lead with size. They can play faster with Sexton. They can keep Kessler near the rim or change the front court when an opponent goes 5 out. Last season, too many lineup decisions felt like choosing which weakness to accept. This roster gives the coaching staff more answers, even if none of those answers is perfect. And in the postseason, options matter. A 7-game series is an argument that keeps changing. The team that can answer the next question without abandoning its identity usually has a chance. The Lakers now have more ways to answer. Here is the uncomfortable part of the argument. Again, losing LeBron does not make the Lakers more talented, but it may make the hierarchy cleaner. There is one engine, Luka, one primary secondary creator, Reaves, one defensive anchor, Kessler, and a group of wings and guards whose job is to defend, space, cut, run, and keep the ball moving. That simplicity has value. Players know where their shots come from. The coaching staff knows which actions must survive pressure. The front office knows exactly what kind of player fits the next transaction. The offense no longer has to balance 2 all-time creators who both see the game best with the ball in their hands. The team can commit fully to Luka's pace, slow enough to diagnose the coverage, sudden enough to punish the opening. This is why the Lakers could be less talented on paper and more difficult to play against in practice. They are not trying to collect the largest names. They are trying to make every possession look like the same idea. Luka creates the advantage. Everyone else extends it or protects it. Now, the case for the Lakers only means something if we acknowledge what can break it. First, health. This team depends heavily on Luka and Reaves carrying the creative load and Kessler anchoring the defense. Long absences from any of them would change the structure, not just the rotation. Second, perimeter size. Grimes and Thybulle can defend, but the West is filled with large scoring wings who can shoot over smaller matchups. Los Angeles may still need one more two-way forward before the deadline. Third, playoff spacing. Kessler's rim protection is valuable, but opponents will try to pull him away from the basket. If the Lakers cannot punish small lineups at the other end, the geometry can turn against them. Fourth, there is no traditional third superstar. When Luka is trapped and Reaves is contained, who wins a broken possession with 8 seconds left? Those are real questions. They are why this is not a prediction of an inevitable championship. But every team outside the very top tier has questions. The Lakers' questions are now specific and understandable. That is better than having a roster whose best players create contradictory demands. My realistic range is 48 to 52 wins, with a stable playoff spot if the core stays healthy. The baseline is a competitive postseason team. The reasonable upside is the second round. And if Kessler holds up in difficult matchups, the defense reaches the top half of the league, and one more wing emerges, the conference finals ceiling is real. That is not because the Lakers replaced LeBron's production. They could not. It is because Luka can create an elite offense with less help than almost anyone, and the front office used its resources to strengthen the possessions he does not control. More rim protection, more point-of-attack defense, more lineup options, more clarity. Against Los Angeles, you may survive Luka's first action. Then Reaves attacks the rotation. You may pull Kessler away from the rim. Then the Lakers can change the front court. You may target a weak defender. Then Grimes or Thibault takes the assignment. This team will not overwhelm every opponent. It may simply become harder to solve than people expect. So yes, the Lakers lost an icon. They lost star power, playoff experience, and one of the smartest players the sport has ever seen. But the 2026-27 Lakers are not trying to recreate the LeBron era. They are building the first real version of the Luka era. A team with a single offensive center of gravity, a real rim protector, a legitimate second creator, and role players selected for specific problems instead of general reputation. Maybe that structure is not enough to win the West, but it is more than enough to make the simple consensus wrong. The Lakers did not just get worse because LeBron left. They got different, and different may be exactly what Luka needed. So what worries you most? Health, perimeter defense, or the lack of a third star? Put your answer in the comments. And if you want more NBA arguments that challenge the obvious story, subscribe.